solving one-step equations from examples you can find in worksheet 4, question 1. So I've got some one-step equations here. So to solve these, what we're going to do is we're going to consider the equation as the expression part on the left-hand side and our output, what this expression is equal to. Now what we're going to try and do is work back the way to try and figure out what x must have been. So we have this number x, we've added 7 to it and we got 11. So to undo this, we're going to try and get back to what x was by itself. We're going to identify that it's the plus 7 that we're going to try and get rid of. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to circle that just to identify that that's the thing I want to get rid of here. So what I'm going to do to undo a plus 7, I'm going to subtract 7, because the opposite of adding 7 is subtracting 7. Now because these two things are equal to each other, the left hand side and the right hand side are equal to each other, if I do something to one side of the equation, I must do the same to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 7 there. Now when I do the subtract 7 on the left hand side, you'll see they're the opposite of each other, so they just cancel each other out, and I'm left with what I had initially, which was the x. So I'm left with my x. And on the right hand side, 11 take away 7 is 4. And that's my final answer. So x must have been 4 there. For part B, again, first of all I want to undo this process that's happening to x to get back to what x must have been in the first place. So x subtract 8 is my expression part, and that is equal to 1. So to undo what's happening to x, well, what's happening here is that I have a subtract 8. So I'm going to just identify that it's a subtract 8. I'm going to try and get undo. So undoing a subtract 8. Well, to undo a subtract 8, I would add 8. So this add 8 is going to cancel out that subtract 8. But because I've done that to the left hand side of the equation, I need to do it to the right hand side as well. So I need to do it to both sides because they're equal to each other. Okay, so like I say, the negative 8 and a positive 8 cancel each other out because they are opposites. So all I'm left with here is just x. And on the right hand side I get 1 plus 8, which is 9. So x is equal to 9 in this case. Okay, question C. This time again I've got x. Now what's happening to x? Well, it's been multiplied by 5. And when I do that, it's equal to 30. So again, I want to look at this process and I want to undo it to get down to just what x was. So if I have a multiply by 5, I'm going to just identify the multiply by 5 as the thing I want to undo to get back to x. Okay, so to undo a multiply by 5, now I know they're multiplying because they're sitting right next to each other. So to undo a multiply by 5, well, I just divide by 5. But if I do that to the left hand side of the equation, I must do the same to the right hand side of the equation. So we divide by 5 on both sides. Now, divide by 5 and multiply by 5 are opposites of each other, so they cancel each other out, and I'm left with just x on the left hand side. And on the right hand side I've got 30 and I'm dividing it by 5, so I have 6. Okay, and we can double check our equation just by saying, right, 5 times 6 does give me 30, so x must have had to be 6 there. Now for part D, the last one, so what I'm saying here is x over 3 equals 8. So what I'm saying is x is being divided by 3 to then give me an answer of 8, an overall output of 8. So again, I want to get x by itself, so I want to undo the thing that's happening to x, which in this case is dividing by 3. So I'm just going to circle the divide by 3 part because that's what I need to get rid of. So to undo divide by 3, well, I just times by 3, multiply by 3, because that's the opposite of divide by 3. And on the right, because I've done that to the left hand side of the equation and they're equal to each other, I must do the same to the right hand side, so I'm going to multiply that by 3 as well. And when I do that, well, times by 3 and divide by 3 are opposite, so they cancel each other out. So I've got x by itself is equal to 8 times 3 is 24. So x must be 24. And again, I can double check that by saying, if x was 24, 24 divided by 3 is in fact 8. So that's correct. Okay. So again, just circling the part of the process I want to undo. So in each case, these are all one step. So there's only one thing happening to x in each case. But circling the thing I want to undo, figure out what I need to do to undo that. So the opposite of an add 7 would be a subtract 7. Opposite of addition is subtraction. Opposite of multiplication is division. So I just do the opposite. And then do the opposite to the other side as well. So whatever I do to one side of the equation, I must do to the other side as well. And I end up with my answer. Now you can try worksheet 4, question 1.